morning. I'm sure that as I'm starting early and I'm in here in my garage by myself, that in fact I'm speaking to myself. But if you are at home watching this now, or you watch it later, thank you, because this is fun for me. I warm up every day, no matter what I'm going to do, using my martial arts background and my soccer background. And I've incorporated my soccer with my martial arts because I like it. So, there's that. Kind of neat. So today, I don't know if you can really notice the changes over time that have happened, but I've grown taller. So I don't know if you noticed how this bag used to tower over me, bully me even. So terrible. So today I decided that I would have some fun. So today's lesson is in why you should never duck your head against somebody who has adequate kicks. Now listen, I'm not saying great kicks. I'm saying adequate kicks. Some of you are overconfident. I've seen men knocked out to the point where they're snoring, and it's scary. With very easy or easily thrown kicks. They were just well timed and well placed. So that's kind of where we're going today. So some other things as well that are on my mind. You see me almost hit my face with this? That's kind of fun. One of the things when you're dealing with weapons that you have to deal with is range. So long range, mid range, short range. Again, you can see how the weapon works. Long range. So if I can keep you here, so imagine that now this range is extended because I'm striking this person's arm. If this represents your body, if that represents your body, then this area here is going to be where your weapon and your arms and everything else is, unless I'm sneaking up behind you. I'm probably not going to do that. So long range is dictated by where we can touch, and that's sometimes even further than what you can hit with your weapon. So you have to learn how to close the gap. And depending on what you're seeing, closing the gap is dependent on what's likely to happen, not necessarily what is going to happen, because there's a whole bunch of different possibilities. So if somebody is coming at you like with their hands out, and you have a baton in your hand, and you have limited support, and you're trying to decide what to do, not striking somebody in the face is a smart thing to do. Because if you're backing away and you hit a person like that, they're going to duck their head and rush you. That's a likely thing. They might, in fact, take that in the face and spray blood and go, "Oh my God, why'd you hit me? Dude, this is a peaceful protest." They might not. So, what martial arts has always done is developed possibilities of fighting such that you could move from short range to long range effectively without being overwhelmed by the various possibilities. So if you're human beings coming at you like this and they show strength, and a light little tap is likely to enrage them no matter if blood flies or not, they're going to come at you. You have to have a plan for your second one. So a lot of techniques from stick fighting start here, but you can see where I'm immediately going to move. And I'm going to move with the technique. I'm not going to hold my ground. So if I, for example, if I moved to a position where, yikes, let's hope that stays, where I could strike and I'm back. You see where I'm at? That next movement might look like that. So from this perspective, it's if I struck in the face and then moved back. You can see that. So when you have an attack, on the top of the head, so one, and then I'm stepping back. Okay? 1, 2. That motion there. I don't know if you respect that or not, but you should. You absolutely should. Okay? That's first. So those of you that are playing with weaponry, you need to learn the motions that look like that. Because you're not walking through that. I mean, you might think you are, but you're not. So that's first. Man, that feels good on the shoulder. Oh, this guy's not going to move around as much because he's shorter than me and he's a lot slower now that he's dragging his big old butt in the dirt. He's a little fatty. Little fatty. Look at this little fat gut. Oh, come on. Quit being such a bully, huh? Whoa, man. You're going to be easy to play with. That's how it feels. When you're dealing with a guy that's better than you, when he's faster than you, when you're short and he's having a field day kicking you in the head, you are about to experience one of the worst sparring days of your life. So whether you know it or not. So learning how to do long-range attacks are super important. Learning to get a guy's head down as you do said long-range attacks, or where the secret to the success of your attacks lies. Now here's why. I want you to look at the majority of knockout videos that are done with a round kick in both the men and the women's MMAs. So the reason I want you to do this is then you can start to see that nobody is getting knocked out with kicks that go straight up. Straight up. They can kick this high, but they're not fighting people that high. They're fighting people that just thought that something was coming to their body and they went like this. They ducked. But instead, what happened was the person threw a right leg at them. And when they ducked like this, they exposed that one part of their head where that right leg comes up. So when you start looking at these videos, stop them. Examine something first. The knockout videos that you see, most of the time, the guys who are getting knocked out, their heads are at about the shoulder or sternum height of the person that's knocking them out, relatively. Okay? It's always within that, because they've ducked or moved away in a way that's brought their head into this position. And then they've exposed it, or they've exposed it with their hands by thinking that something's coming somewhere else, when in fact it's at their face or head and they just didn't see it. So lowering the head is what you do when you react to things that you think are coming in, that you can maneuver towards and or that you can react to deliver your own response. Okay? So most people don't stand straight up unless you're boxing. And if a person's standing straight up, trust me, they're not prepared for this. Just kick them as hard as you can in their gut and see what happens next. They might end up kicking your ass. But if they're a boxer and you just keep them here all day, they'll try to figure that out and then they'll eventually rush you. And really good boxers don't have time to be really good wrestlers most times. So, I don't know, might not be true. But, I mean, in a wrestling match between a really great MMA player and a boxer, I'm going to choose the MMA player, but, you know, that's just me. So, I'm trying to then get you, if you're against me, when I say against me, you're just trying to punch me in the face, that's all. Or kick me in the head. It's all good, we're friends. So one of the things that you're going to have to deal with is me doing that, just poking at you. Just poking at you. So I might do that just to make you mad. Because like some of the things that I've learned how to do in coordination with that, just that movement there, gets you to move around. Because you don't know what might come next. Because I'm going to attack and move, and I'm going to move around, and I'm going to be active. I'm just going to stand here and talk at you. Okay? So, once you realize that the majority of the time your long-range attacks are designed to lure an opponent into a reaction, you have to then practice that kicks must be fast enough to strike even if telegraphed. You must train for speed. You must. So then in isolation, you have to bring the head of your opponent down to where you want it to be. So stop trying to kick so high. You know, it's nice if you're in tournament. Great, do that. But if you're just trying to be a better fighter and you're trying to learn techniques that might keep you alive in self-defense situations, you don't really need to kick that high. And if you look at these, we're talking about 120 to 130 degrees of flexibility. Not 180, not full splits. Again, full splits are neat. They're not entirely necessary. Okay? So, I don't know that I'm going to be able to kick this guy in the head because I'm 54 and a half, 3/4, 4/5, I don't know. Next month, yeah. 11/12. Oh God, it's coming up so fast. And quite frankly, haven't really warmed up. So, as I'm sparring cold, I don't know, this guy's probably safe, right? Hey, look at me. Well, maybe not. That still hurts though. So, yeah. I can barely do that right now. It's terrible. You see how hard that is? That's my kick cold. I'm trying to kick you in the head. Okay? So now we're going to warm up. We're going to take a few. We're going to warm up. And you're going to follow me because you probably need to warm up as well. If you don't, then you don't have to worry about this. Okay? But watch. What we're going to do now is we are not going to go anywhere near this little tiny head. Just going to turn it over. 1 and 2. This is a stretching exercise. Okay? Again. 1. You're aiming for that groin. Okay? Into the 2. Some people will say you don't need to do this or that. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do. Watch what I do, and you can try to duplicate it. It works for me. If it works for you your way, practice your way in your garage like you're doing, or in my garage if we're doing it together. Because what we're trying to do is learn how to kick that thing. And we're kind of all fairly able. So. So I have a little bit more control. Practicing this on the spec scares me because this always comes up underneath your foot and you got to get that foot out fast. If you don't, you get caught. Oh wait, that's just like a real fight. Oh man, I didn't realize. I don't know, that might not hurt. But you're still gonna have to worry about it. And you're probably gonna have to worry about that. So, when you see that, you see where all of a sudden that move makes you go, oh shit. If I've hit you with that already, okay, you're gonna react to the second move. And it's gonna look just like the one I threw. And you're like, oh, got him. Because that was your game plan. That's where your head came down. That's what you gave me. As we're fighting, and you think I'm a beginner, you're a fucking idiot. It's okay. I am too. But the difference is I've had hundreds of sparring matches. So I'm watching you, figuring out what type of fighter you are. Once I figured out what your specialty is, I'm just going to direct you to the techniques that work on your specialty. As I was taught to do within the praying mantis system, which is an encompassing system in case you guys haven't figured that out by now. So it includes long range kicking, as well as short range kicking. Ow! I know, what a great sound that makes when I scream like that. So, you have to learn the long range kicking. So the long range kicking, again, that we use, front kick, great entry, front kick, and then you get a guy to duck his head, front kick. Guy starts ducking his head off that lead leg, 1-2 him a couple times, and then there's your 3. Don't miss like that. Okay? Again, first kick cold. I can't even kick the midget. So, for those of you guys watching this, you should feel fairly safe about my head kicks. Probably not really anything you're gonna have to worry about. Right? Probably. I'm gonna continue to work at it. We'll see. We'll see. Just takes work. Some of you guys already have this. I actually have to work for it. See how hard that is for me? Oh gosh. Now, for the love of God, get in better shape than me. For all that is sacred on planet Earth, if you're a martial artist, take yourself seriously. A lot of the guys that I train with back in my youth didn't take themselves seriously. They talked like they did. And you know, some of these guys were extremely able fighters. So they let their ability to fight dictate your allegiance to them. It's a form of bullying. It works. Some people fall prey to that. So it happens a lot in the fight game. Because, you know, it's easy to bully kids sometimes. So I'm just going to stick with threes here, because I'm going to work on kicking to the head quickly in one movement using low high and snap off of the front leg. So in truth, if I can't do that, I'm going to abandon head kicks during the course of a fight. So I know, you know, within 15 to 20 minutes of warm up that I can probably start achieving it, just because I've done it before, and that's, you know, hopefully I can actually prove that. That's the talk is cheap stuff. So talk is cheap until, in fact, you can show that you can do it. So I always had this training ethic that said, I won't ask anyone to train in a way that I haven't done. And in that, I'll maintain some of the highest standards of training that I can find, which I did, and I continue to do so. Whether you can accept that or not, I don't give a crap. You're not trying to live my life. It's sort of complicated that way, isn't it? So, using this threes exercise, 1, 2, 3. Each time, whether you're going to use the specific turn of the heel or not, practice doing so just so you can get the snapping motion that you need. I'm moving slowly, but if you kick, that has to have snap. If you kick to an opponent's leg off the front, you're going to want that to have snap as well as power. You don't have to carry it through. You just have to time it right. It has to be at the right spot. It has to have the right intention. That's the whole body moving at once. So you'll see that motion there. Okay? And if you're in self-defense, that's where you're kicking to the groin. So anyway, 3 then is what you're trying to get your body to do in the higher kick, even though you're practicing it lower. And the reason that you're practicing it lower is because, quite frankly, you don't need to practice it higher yet. It's just not necessary. Until you get there. You can just turn as much as you want on that heel. You can practice turning not at all on those first couple kicks. You can practice not turning as you kick higher, like the Muay Thai guys do, where some of them just don't even turn at all. When they kick you, whang, like they're just hitting you in the body. And trust me, that kick hurts. So, you know, do what you want. This is what I do. Because what I'm trying to do is get that kick a little higher. So now I'm going to go forwards. And I'm just kind of stretching as I do it. Trying to get some balance and maybe some stability. It's good to practice nice and slow into your kicks and stretches. So then you can focus on like correct breathing instead of holding your breath like I did there. Little stretch. Feels good. See if I'm there yet. I don't know. That was like a few moments. 5 minutes? 10 minutes? Where are we? When I say we. Excuse me while I try to figure out where I'm at. All right, so if I stop moving, whatever progress I've made is going to reverse. I mean, age has a terrible, terrible, terrible effect on that. So whether you can accept that or not, I don't care. It's my reality. So now I can at least legitimately think that I can train to kick repetitively you in the head if I can get your head to drop down to that level. So now I can begin to kick in isolation. So I try to lower you down where you're punching down or coming down. And then as I do that, I step up and I kick. So back, just simple step up kick motion. Kick. That's all I'm doing. I'm not trying to go fast. And then as you get more fluid with that, because it's an easier kick to throw because of your forward momentum, you'll start to feel, if you're sensitive, what it feels like to use those muscles here. Where then you don't have to step, which is a much harder motion because you have to turn that hip over quicker because you don't have as much distance to travel. So it's a thing that you can practice. So, and then the way that you lure people into that anyway is by leaning back. So it's a lot easier than it looks. So as you get close with some sort of range that they think, oh, we can touch hands. What you want to do is appear hittable with your chin. And then as they attack, you want to fade back. See, you're in this quadrant here. You can see where this is coming through this angle. But I'm not there right now. So what I'm doing is getting you to come at me. Here comes your head. Boom. And I'm going to do that over and over again until I clip you in the chin or something. Because a lot of times you'll have these motions where an opponent will move to a southpaw stance to get to your outside. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get you to move off to their left. And again, you don't want to duck your head because if you do, you're going to get clipped in the face with these motions. So that's that. So now you practice from here, throwing that. So you can see the angle that you're fighting. Southpaw stance. That right is what you're weak to. You see how square I am to this guy? He's going to be looking for, here it comes. And so as he does that, I'm going to shift my weight to the right side. I'm going to duck my head back. So as he does that, I'm going to go to this side here and then see where this is going to turn all the way through to start the target. So that's how that works. And then you just start putting all those motions together. So, round kicks. So, but you know, front kick, round kick, what other kicks are there? Guys are like, man, remember that front jump kick that you saw? So you have the low high kick, right? Everybody knows what that is by now, whether question mark kick or whatever. So whether you throw it like a traditional low high, which you do this to draw their hand, and again, you're trying to go around the curvature of their body when they reach or block. So you have to be really cautious about throwing this to time it right. And then they just straight up, without any real setup, you can still throw this kick, turning that hip over. You see where that's not all that hard. And trust me, if you time it and you have the right amount of power and speed, you are going to put somebody to sleep with that. It's just going to happen. So, question mark kicks, right? The one kick that I've seen knock a person out that people talk about like, no, that'll never happen, is an outside crescent kick. Which, man, I was shocked the guy walked into it. So, I didn't throw it. It wasn't me, and I didn't get knocked out by it. But what happened is, from a southpaw stance, the guy threw one of those. You can see where that kick goes. So when I throw, an outside crescent kick, whether it's a spinning one or not, if I throw the outside spin and I hit, it's not a light motion. So again, the outside crescent kick, if you've got a guy to turn and you can make it look just like this is about to happen, but instead you go like this, it's going to have an effect, whether that guy knows it or not. So, and then, you know, there's the jumping kicks, which everybody likes those. So, I don't know. The one I like the most, I don't ever expect to be able to strike in that range again, but I always aimed for the body anyway. So I made contact with people's face a couple times with this kick, and it's just because they walked into it. So I think the one time in life that I threw it perfectly, I probably was able to elevate that kick quite a bit more than I can today, especially I'm much older. And I practiced it. I haven't been practicing, but I practiced it. I'm not making excuses. I can still do the kick. I'm just going to demonstrate that, in fact, that kick's a lot harder than it looks, but you can practice it. Okay? And that's, again, that's hitting at this level, which is all I'm ever going to do. So if you want to go higher with that kick, you could practice in isolation to get it automatic. So you want to be able to spin like you're about to throw some type of backspin kick. Those get lured in by that movement right there, because it looks like you're about to come in with a hard and heavy overhand, overguard type of movement preceded by the jab. That's why you got low, because you're loading up. So what they're likely to do is that, jam you up so that they can take the first blow, and as you're trying to move away from their red zone, clip you on the way out. That would not be unusual. So then what you're going to do is you're going to step just like that, like you're throwing the jab, but from this position here, you're going to go like this. Okay? So over and over again, from a horse stance, you're going to try to bring this up a little bit higher and not miss. Okay? So I don't have anything to hit except very tiny things. So I'm going to have to really work at this to make this work for me. Don't hold your breath like I just did. Jumping, backspin kick. And then, I don't know, a lot of kicks people talk about. I like the axe kick. So it looks like you're going to throw the outside crescent kick from here. So, as he jams up and comes in, you just change your path a little bit and go here. So he walks into a kick that's coming straight down with your heel. So now you're trying to hit the bag right there. Step away. There comes the kick that he's going to rush. And instead you deviate from that. Just scares me. I know, you're you're likely sparring guys with a full set of arms and maybe a brain. You're gonna have it a lot harder than me. So, footwork. When you're using Mantis style footwork, in order to make any of these long range, I couldn't even say that, long range attacks work, they're going to start with the same type of footwork and body work, hand work, that your hand motions do. So, some of you guys have excellent kicking skills, so learn how to make both your long range hand movements and your long range kicking movements look similar, and you'll start closing the gap more fluidly. You'll catch guys a lot more in sparring, especially with your favorite techniques. So maybe that's not your goal. It's not my goal. I'm not sparring. Barely hanging on. No sleep and everything else. Okay. Mantis. Long range, short range. Those are range theories. So long force, short force. Those are the ability to strike from certain distances. Long force is that ground up thing that's thrown, and everybody gets it wrong when they use in parts of their form. So you'll see the Mantis guys online are all, doing this kind of stuff. Forgive the improper footwork. So from the Daijun, they have a motion that goes like this. And everybody does it like that. I asked a guy about it one time. He said, oh, I was keeping it slow so the students would have a comprehension of what was happening. It's like, well, if you did that same motion fast, your students would comprehend by getting knocked out. This doesn't work the way that is in the form. The guys aren't using any force, long or short, with their punch. So it wouldn't be respected. Not by today's world. Back in the day, remember, for those of you that are still defending Kung Fu, the internet has, in fact, revealed that some of you guys are full of shit. So, from this motion here, you have to be able to move in and hit a target. So, Daijun, Daijun means moving forward after intercept. So, I'm moving. What I've done is I've grabbed my opponent's lead hand and I've sought the center line such that he's unable to penetrate cleanly with the rear hand. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. And in that, I have the overhand movement to the head position superior. He has to duck his head to get away from this, which that leads us into the next set of movements that become possible because you have to focus on that. What if he does this? Yeah, he's gonna. Anyway, so that first movement that you do in the forms, people make a big deal out of it. You say, again, you watch these Mantis guys where they're going like this, and you're like, oh my God, that sucks. Oh, you guys suck. Because if you're fighting, that's gonna look like that. That's it, that's all you get. So it's that hook, intercept, but your next movement, remember that superior position. So as I move, that's what I'm trying to do. Like a Superman punch. Oh. See that? As you start going backwards, I'm gonna come forward. And then maybe, as I hit that, and you duck and move under, I come up with the knee. Bing. And then, if I come up with the knee, elbow. Some of you Mantis guys are going to recognize this. The rest of you, have fun with it. So, a supplemental punch is not like that. There's no correctness in that at all. So show your students crap and you'll have crap for students. Or something. I don't know if that's true. I have no students, so that probably says something. Anyway, I don't train for students. I train to kick a dude in the liver. Because you've seen how I struggle to kick in any other way. I mean, I'll still practice, you know, that hook, heel kick thing. Oh, oh, those are hard. Also practice those, but I don't like them. They hurt. Whereas this doesn't. It's gonna go slow. That doesn't hurt at all. So now I push you and daijun. See that? So and away. I push you, kick you, step in, and I move away. Daijun. Push you, I kick you, and I move away. That's a motion called moving forward after intercept. Hook, move, kick. This is Daijun. Moving forward after intercept. Mantis. All right. So, how to deal with a leg kick? Go online. Find the best Muay Thai teacher you can find online. Watch the videos. Go sign up at all the karate tournaments you can. Go get into any fights you can. We're Muay Thai guys. We'll gladly club you. And then you'll figure that out. Once you've figured out how to use that check, and you've figured out that you're going to need to condition your shins and kick a lot of bags and it's a sport, you'll discover that there's a right way and a wrong way due to the fact that most people aren't going to spend the time doing that shit. So, and as you get old, you're certainly not going to withstand the rigors of that type of training. Some old guys do. Respect. Dan Inosanto. Guru Dan Inosanto. Shifu Dan Inosanto. Sensei Dan Inosanto. And then whatever other millions of arts from his past that guy has resurrected in his brain because he is a genius. The rest of us, not so much. So, and then you can disguise it. Push your guy back. Oh, man. Those type of movements, you know. Showing you all my secrets so you can beat the crap out of me in sparring. But that's okay, because it's never going to happen because I'm old. Again, I keep saying that, right? I'm broken. And if I kick your ass, imagine losing to him, I've heard before. Well, yeah, you should fucking imagine it. It's not like I'm going to fucking walk away. And you're not going to hurt me to death. And you're not going to scare me to death. You're going to have to beat me to death, stab me to death, shoot me to death, burn me to death, or whatever death you can create. Why do you train? I'm training for the reasons I train. Good Lord. This is pure insanity. That's what getting chopped in the corner feels like, right there. After that, you can have your way with me. Again, I'm gonna hang on. Oh my God. You're gonna ground and pound. It's gonna be terrible for me. That's what it looks like. Gotta train hard. At this point, I'm like, Coach, oh dear God, take me out of the game. You gotta do 8 sprints. Game of soccer, 7 to 10, 30 yards, 6 to 10 seconds max. The rest of the time, you're gonna be jogging for 5 miles. If you ain't figured that out by now, most of the time, you're gonna be super ready. But opportunity only comes on the sprint. You better get good at training while you're tired as hell. Otherwise, you will not succeed. I don't care who you are or what you think until you figure out how to train. It ain't gonna happen. In my life, a lot of guys have been like, oh, Wes Hardy thinks he's the best. No. Wes Hardy does not think he's the best. He played with the best and has an extremely competitive, unrealistic view of the world. So I look at those people as my inspiration and I try to be like them. Kind of stupid, right? Why do you train? So you can be the worst? Fuck. Follow my blog. You can't do any worse than me. That kind of sounded Trumpy, didn't it? What have you got to lose? Other than your teeth, which I haven't lost. Your eyebrows, which are intact. Your nose, which has never been broken. I went to the doctor. He says, hey Wes, when'd you get your nose broken? I was like, never? He laughed. Nah, he says, you most certainly got your nose broken. And I went back in life and I realized, oh yeah, so in soccer, I remember standing like this. The guy standing on my shoulder was from the University of Southern Florida. He was one of my coaches. And I was being trained as a defender. And we had some guys that, I don't know, they kicked the ball pretty accurately and hard. But it was wall training, so not only were they training to avoid us, but this was the 70s, so they were also training to hit us. You know, in the 70s, adult encouraged fighting amongst kids in every way and shape they could even conceive. So on the soccer field, it was really no different. So what happens if it hits me in the face? Randy says it's gonna hurt. Well, what do? Breathe. That was my advice. But sometime between then and the end of my soccer career, a decade later, I probably took 1 or 2 of those in the face. But to my knowledge, I have never broken my nose. But, you know, whatever. Those just stories. I don't have cauliflower here. I don't have any of the marks of a fighter. I don't know why. Because all of my training I kept within confines of safety, such that for the martial arts world, I only had to train to sustain full contact blows with an empty hand from my teacher, full contact blows from any students he could find, and anyone we could recruit in the full contact tournaments that everyone at that school eventually did. I certainly wasn't the only one, and I certainly wasn't the best. Again, back in those days, I was still figuring out everything else like everyone else was. It's just the way it goes sometimes. Oh my God, that would have been so awesome! The end of everything today came with Shifu Hardy breaking his nose during a story about not breaking his nose. Thousand touches. How many touches are we gonna do? Gotta count everyone. Get to 200. Fine. Get to 10. Pick it up. Do 11. Drop it. 12. Drop it. 13. Count everyone. Perseverance isn't about making it. Perseverance is about not making it. You got to do it so many times and get yourself so tired you don't make it. Because you're not going to make it most of the time. Train harder. Come on. Flat. Oh my God. Don't get old yet. Start early, And early. So, a few of you in this life are going to want to push hard enough to overcome the ability of somebody you find to be better than you. But the only way you're ever going to do that is by training harder than you've ever thought possible, especially if that's what they're doing. Some people are natural athletes, but you rise to the level where everyone around you is a natural athlete or better. You have natural athletes who've learned how to work hard and be emotionally stable like Shaolin monks. Probably got something going. Let you figure that one out. Wow, barely get my leg up there. So right now, stretching that I'm doing is to aid in recovery and reduce soreness. I'm not trying to increase my flexibility. I'm just simply trying to maintain comfort. Remember, flexibility is really determined by your body's ability to move within a pain-free range of motion that is defined by circumstances that are different and unique in nearly everyone. That means that you cannot define one person's flexibility by comparing it to another. This is the way it goes. Whether you can accept this or not, you should learn. Learn what it looks like to stretch at like 120 to 130 degree angle. So it's a lot easier than you might imagine. Once you figure that out, you'll have something. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of stretching. I say I don't stretch. Well, I'm entitled to it. Anyway. You know what? I feel like I'm done. I don't know about you. You still look like you got something in you. But, like they used to tell us in bars, man, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Get out of my garage. See you tomorrow.